I don't understand it. I don't understand why people continue wasting millions of dollars on these useless spring football leagues. Why? No one is asking for this. No one is asking for football in April, and people damn sure aren't asking for second-rate minor league football in April. If I want to watch minor league football, I'll watch college football in September. Look, I know these secondary football leagues are great opportunities for players. When you have grown up playing football and you have dedicated your entire life to it, it has got to be incredibly difficult to let it go, especially when the reason you're letting it go is because you're not good enough to continue to the NFL and play professionally. This is nothing against the players, who I assume bust their ass in the UFL. I say I assume because I'm not watching it, and judging by their attendance and their ratings, neither are you. We are 3 weeks into the sophomore season of the UFL, attendance down 4%. They are averaging less than 13,000 people a game. Now, that number would be great for the WNBA, but these games are being played in stadiums. You put 13,000 people in a stadium that seats 40, 50,000, that place looks empty. Ratings are down 33%, with the most watched game of the season drawing less than 1 million viewers on ABC. Second season of the UFL. It almost didn't happen because owners and players, they couldn't come to an agreement on a labor deal. Now, of course, the players couldn't afford to go on strike because the average player's making $60,000 a year. They're barely able to survive when they're being paid. Things have gotten so bad for the UFL, they're struggling now to find head coaches. 3 games into the season, Ken Whisenhunt, he decided that it was time to quit. He suddenly decided that he needed a break from football. Ironically enough, Ken Whisenhunt had a 2-year break from football before he accepted a job in the UFL. And he hasn't been an actual coach since 2019. Outside of analyst positions with Alabama and Penn State, Ken Whisenhunt's had a 6-year break from football. But, you know, he just needed another break. 5 days before the season started, Reggie Barlow, he quit the UFL to become the head coach at Tennessee State. Not Tennessee, not even Vanderbilt. He quit to coach something called Tennessee State. We have seen this movie before. Happened with the XFL, happened with arena football, and now it's happening with the UFL, the latest league headed for bankruptcy. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. The UFL's owned by Fox, so obviously financial bankruptcy, that's not going to be an issue. The bankruptcy I'm talking about is cultural bankruptcy, meaning no one cares about your polished turd of a league. The UFL has been given every advantage. They are being broadcast in prime windows on major networks. UFL games aren't airing at midnight on your local LGBT affiliate. These games are being broadcast on Saturday, Sunday afternoons. Last Saturday, Houston-Memphis, 295,000 viewers on ESPN. Arlington-Birmingham, 682,000 on Fox. Now, while some of these games are drawing decent ratings, it's still an embarrassment because the people watching on television, they're watching games being played in empty stadiums. The optics are atrocious. Take it from someone who watched the Pelicans play in an empty arena for years. I don't want to say it's depressing, but it feels less important. It feels like no one cares because no one cares. And that's the biggest problem with these spring football leagues. This experiment has been tried over and over and over. The Arena Football League had some success in the 90s and early 2000s, but if I remember correctly, they either ran out of money or the networks lost interest. Money wasn't a problem for the XFL. They were backed by Vince McMahon at the height of the WWF. Money isn't a problem for the UFL. They're backed by Fox. The problem has always been, and the problem will always be, interest or a complete lack thereof. One of the things that makes the NFL so special, we only have it 4 months out of the year. We have 18 Sundays of NFL Red Zone. We have 18 out of 52 weeks of the NFL. That scarcity creates value. People are passionate about the NFL because access is limited. Once NFL season ends, people are clamoring for September. But that does not mean people are clamoring for football. More specifically, spring football, especially when the football you're presenting is substandard. That's a problem you can't solve because you're never going to get NFL players to compete in the UFL. Not only because you're not offering enough money, even if you offered millions, you're not going to get NFL players because the NFL will never allow it. I don't understand why brilliant people keep trying this failed experiment. You don't become rich by being a dummy, but for some reason, smart people can't seem to understand that Americans will never care about secondary football. Hell, they can't even get coaches to care. You're competing against March Madness, NBA playoffs. You're competing against the Masters, opening day of Major League Baseball. What about the NHL? What about the NHL? As bad as the UFL is struggling, they are still drawing better ratings in the NHL, but even with that being the case, the NHL is more culturally relevant than the UFL, and the NHL is irrelevant. Unless something drastically changes, I think this is going to be the final season for the UFL. What about you? Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys on the main channel.